With Volume 9 having come to a close, there is a lot to talk about, but the first thing we should talk about is where we are going to be headed in Volume 10. As the very last scene in the finale of Volume 9 showed us, Team RWBY has now arrived in Vacuo. We get our first look at the city of Vacuo and, most importantly, the sky above it, which very well shows us that Team RWBY is not arriving immediately after everyone else from Atlas. Although Team RWBY did spend what looked to be maybe about 36 to 48 hours in the Ever After, we did see them spend one night and have one sleep in the Ever After, so presumably it was about 2 days, assuming the Ever After has the same 24-hour day cycle that Remnant has. But however long it may have been, it's very clear that it wasn't really that much time that Team RWBY and Jaune had spent in the Ever After. What we see in Vacuo, though, would have taken much longer for everything to be assembled. And on top of that, the words that the blacksmith said to Team RWBY and Jaune as they were departing is that they were sending Team RWBY and Jaune not to where they were needed most, but when they were needed most. And based on what we see, with all of the airships in the sky, Vacuo is prepared for war. Very reminiscent to what we saw when Team RWBY was first arriving at Atlas. All of the airships above the floating city and preparing for an assault that may or may not come. In Atlas, there was some uncertainty what would end up happening, and it was more Ironwood's paranoia and preparation for Salem's inevitable assault. He knew that Beacon and Haven had fallen, and so he had prepared for that, but the rest of the world didn't really know why Ironwood was being this paranoid. Of course, the rest of the kingdom knew about the fall of Beacon Academy, but perhaps the fall of Haven Academy might not have been widely spread across the rest of the populace, because by the time Haven fell, the cross-continental communication system was already brought down, so there was likely still a lot of uncertainty with the general populace as to Ironwood's actions and why he had all of these defenses put around Atlas, especially when it came to putting in place the embargo, and especially enacting martial law, which really restricted people's ability to live their lives the way that they had been accustomed to up until that point, and really harmed the kingdom as a whole and the profits that it was able to bring in, the economy and everything associated with that, all in an effort to defend against some unknown enemy. Because, again, as far as the populace was aware, the enemy was the Grimm, and, this seemed a little bit excessive for anything that Atlas had faced in the past. But now, in Vacuo, that is different. The world now knows about Salem, thanks to RWBY's message that went out, and obviously, it was very effective. Because above the city of Vacuo, we see airships from every kingdom across Remnant. Now, Vacuo, in and of itself, does not have any airships because it is the least technologically advanced, but above the city of Vacuo, we see airships from the city of Atlas, from the city of Vale, and from the city of Mistral. All of the kingdoms have gathered their remaining forces together in Vacuo, prepared for Salem's final assault. The world is well aware that Salem is attacking each of the academies. Now, we don't know if everyone's aware as to why Salem is attacking the rest of the academies, the existence of the relics, and these 4 objects of, a level of power that is akin to the abilities of the gods. Even if they aren't aware of the relics, though, they're still very much aware now that there is a greater enemy controlling the Grimm that wants to wipe out everyone's lives, which is definitely a good reason to unite all of the kingdoms together once again to face this foe. And ultimately, to bring all of the kingdoms together like this, to coordinate everyone, and so that all 3 of the remaining kingdoms are on the same page, and yes, I say 3 because Atlas really isn't a kingdom anymore. The city of Atlas and the city of Mantle are completely wiped out, so technically there's only 3 kingdoms on Remnant now, even though the remnants of Atlas's military are now in Vacuo. They really don't have a kingdom of their own at this point. So we'll see how the world has been reshaped, or the knowledge of the world has been reshaped with the fall of Atlas come Volume 10, and the time skip that has become apparent to have happened. Because even if RWBY's message did go out and everyone started putting their militaries in motion, tried to gather their troops to go help Atlas the moment that they heard RWBY's message, it would take more than a day or two to coordinate everyone and get to Atlas, let alone find out that Atlas has already fallen and then realize that they need to head to Vacuo where everyone else was sent. Messengers would have to be sent back and forth to coordinate everything with the leaders of the kingdoms, with Glinda Goodwitch and whoever is in charge at Haven Academy now, because Leonardo Lionheart's gone, James Ironwood is gone, so it'd pretty much be Headmaster Theodore coordinating with Glinda Goodwitch and whoever he could get in contact with in the other kingdoms, the remnants of Atlas military that would still be probably floating over the wreckage of the city of Atlas, and try to coordinate everyone together. That would take a lot of time. So more time has definitely passed in Remnant than Team Ruby and Jean had experienced in the Ever After. And the ships coming together aren't even the biggest sign of this. No, it is, in fact, Amity Coliseum that we see floating over the city of Vacuo that has been outfitted to be what I presume to be an entire battle station. Or as I like to call it now, Battleship Amity. And there is a very specific reason that Amity has been outfitted this way. It looks like it does have a very massive cannon in the front of it to deal with very massive enemies. They have learned from the defeat that has been suffered in Atlas that Salem can create Grim to the scale of Monstra. And Atlas really had no way to adequately take care of Monstra except hoping that they would be able to carry a bomb inside the creature and detonate it. Well, with the amount of other Grim that Monstra itself was spawning, that would be a very difficult task to achieve. And luckily, Monstra was taken out thanks to Oscar, using Ozpin's magic that he had stored in his cane. And they didn't need to use the bomb. We don't even know if that bomb would have been successful. The blast that it would have created, sure, it would have been successful to destroy Monstra, but getting it inside Monstra would be the real issue there. So instead, they've once again repurposed Amity Coliseum to be essentially an anti-Monstra weapon. At least, I presume. Assuming that the battleship is outfitted with a cannon strong enough to take out Massive Grim the size and scale of Monstra, which seems likely in my mind to prepare for the things that you weren't prepared for in the previous battle, then that would make a lot of sense, and would certainly take a lot of time to actually put together. We saw how long that Ironwood and Pietro were working on getting Amity Coliseum and converting it to the Amity Communication Tower to restore global communications. In the 2 years since the fall of Beacon Academy, we don't exactly know when this plan was devised, but it was likely at least within a year after the fall of Beacon Academy, so presumably they had a year to work on it. It took over a year to actually complete it. By the end of Volume 8, when they launched it up into the atmosphere, it was not fully complete. It was still, partially under construction, but it was operational to say the least. To outfit it into a fully functional battle station would probably have taken at least that long, if not longer. So I think that at least a year has passed on Remnant compared to the time that Team Ruby and Jean spent in the Ever After. Perhaps even 2 years. At the very least, though, it's been a number of months. And also, it's worth it to point out that because Amity Coliseum was able to be retrieved from the tundra of Atlas and has been upgraded, would need, well, a scientist to do so. So very likely, Pietro and Maria will also be making a return in Volume 10. Ultimately, though, what we see in this single shot of Vacuo at the end of Volume 9 shows to us that a time skip has indeed happened, and this is going to have a lot of implications and lead to a lot of interesting interactions between our characters that spent time in the Ever After, that now have more knowledge of the history of Remnant and the world as a whole, well, the universe as a whole, and the multiple worlds and places within it, compared to everyone else on Remnant, and that means they're going to have information to share. They're going to, reunite with the people that, to them, they only saw maybe a couple days ago, whereas for everyone else, they've thought Team Ruby and Jean to be dead for the past 6 months, a year, 2 years, and well, there's going to be some heartfelt reunions, some surprise, some shock, and also a bunch of things that I will discuss in future videos. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Are you looking forward to seeing Vacuo on screen in Volume 10? It's certainly one of the most anticipated kingdoms and places for us to see on screen in the RWBY series, and I am really looking forward to it. How long do you think it's been since Team Ruby and Jean had fallen into the Ever After? In the time of Remnant, at least. How long do you think that time skip has been? How long do you think it would have taken for all of the kingdoms to come together and bring all of their battleships, coordinate, and also, most importantly, construct Amity Coliseum into the battleship Amity? A lot of things that lead to this idea that a time skip has happened, and I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, at the end of the video, I do want to mention, well, as I'm sure many people are aware and have probably pointed out in the comments, I've not filmed a video in over 2 months now since the end of Volume 9. And I do apologize for that. Initially, I only intended to take a couple-week break, but then I got sick, and then other things came up. In particular, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom came out, and that kind of distracted me for a week or more, and, you know, things kept snowballing, work got incredibly busy, and, unfortunately, it just, you know, took a lot of my time. But things have stabilized now, and hopefully they will continue to be that way so I can get back to film all of the videos that I want to film. And there are dozens of them that I still certainly want to make on Volume 9 and other topics. An entire movie has come out with the Justice League RWBY crossover, Heroes and Huntsmen. There's still RWBY Arrowfell videos that I need to make, as well as a bunch of other things. In the meantime, though, over this past 2 months, I was able to continue regularly streaming on Twitch, which I now stream 3 days a week. So if you want to, you know, have updates on video schedules and ask questions about what's going on, that would probably be the best place to do that. I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday now, which means I'll also be live later today after posting this video. So, you know, head over there and say hi on stream. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and are looking forward to more. If you are, then make sure to subscribe and join the Guild of the Eternal Flame. Follow me on Twitch at Phoenix Knight 7, and I'll see you guys in the next video.